I was reading a little while back that people who have access to the remote control in the house, and that can vary as to who it is from one family to another, but if they have the remote control, they take an average of 20 seconds to decide if the next program is of any interest. Which, given this homily is being live streamed, I have 3 seconds or so left to attract your attention. Seems that's why films or TV dramas often have a car crash, an explosion, a fight immediately, and then explain later what has happened. You'll notice it means that the titles of these various dramas are getting later and later into the program. We've just heard in the first reading, the people want, as it were, to change channel. They've had their excitement. They were slaves, and Pharaoh had refused to release them to God. So the Nile turned to blood, a plague of frogs came, hail and fire, you name it, it happened. Literally, scenes of biblical proportions worthy of any great movie, and they have been given their freedom. They are led from captivity, led through the desert, given manna from heaven. Surely, all this has been enough to enable them to know once and for all that they are God's people. Wisdom should have shown them that that is their choice. And if not wisdom, at least a sense of gratitude for all that has happened. But that first reading began with Moses having to remind them, remember how the Lord your God led you for 40 years. He made you feel hunger. He fed you with manna, which neither you nor your fathers had known, to make you understand that man does not live on bread alone. The people are urged to recall, to remember that in times of desperation and famine, they have discovered what in fact had always been true is always true, that God was with them and that he fed them. Moses invites them to turn again to God, to allow themselves to be dependent on him, to live by everything that proceeds out of the mouth of the Lord. Each year, Corpus Christi invites us to reflect on this central truth in our lives, of our need for the Eucharist. This year, it's in the context of our own desert experience, as we are unable to gather as a Eucharistic community. It's a particular sadness that we've not yet been able to share the Eucharist for the first time with those who are preparing to be received into the church, or with the first Holy Communion children. Not just a sadness for those people, but for us. Each year, seeing the children, witnessing the way in which they prepare with their families over the 8 months of preparation, seeing the care with which they receive for the first time, is an inspiration for us. It brings back the memory of that great event in our lives. In many ways, to experience each year the First Communions are for us that call of Moses to remember. This time of famine has given us time to reflect. Also, at an emotional level, the food that the world offers can sometimes seem attractive. Society encourages us in many ways to focus on what we want now, to seek what we think will give us that instant joy. Remote controls were offered at Mass. There may be times when we might be tempted. But it's actually about whether or not we like the hymn or the homily. These days we're invited to recognize that what matters is that the host is our manna, which gives us food in the desert, which nourishes us for our journey to the true promised land. at the end of this Mass, in place of the normal blessing, there will be a few moments of adoration followed by benediction. A few moments to reflect on those words of the Lord to the crowd and to us. My flesh is real food, my blood is real drink. It turns out that the importance of this day, the importance of the Eucharist, the truth central to our lives, can actually be expressed in less than 20 seconds. My flesh is real food, my blood real drink. As Moses invited the people to remember, so we are called to do this in memory of me.